I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
What's wrong? I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor. And soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
and then...
That's where Hifumi let out his scream. Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us, and she told us something very surprising.
Hifumi's body has disappeared.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
This can't be happening. Are we hallucinating all this or something?
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies. And after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated. It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
The contradictions hidden in what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, I have to find them, no matter what.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
The order that the Justice Hammers were used in to commit the murders. Something about that is bothering me.
So, regarding Taka's death,
I wonder if he died perhaps it was after. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last. What makes you say that? Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that
Hifumi was killed while Taka's death came. See? So it's obvious Taka
I knew that was gonna happen at some point. I missed my mark.
I wonder if he died perhaps it was after. We
Oh,
already know
try
what
again.
order they were killed. Taka came last. What makes you say that? Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true.
Oh, okay, seriously?
While Taka's death came. See?
This is getting silly now.
Taka came after.
That's why I sometimes hate truth flashback. You know what? Screw it.
We already know what order they were killed. Taka came last. What makes you say that? Because of the numbering of the
There's your focus gauge, and there's no reason to assume that the Justice Hammer numberings were used in the same order.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Evidence that proves Taka was killed before Hifumi. I feel like there was something. I think it's a safe bet that Taka's wristwatch ceased functioning when he encountered his assailant. So I think we can establish a time frame for Taka's murder.
Now I understand. I've got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
it must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night,
Hey, you! How long were you gonna keep us waiting? Taka's irritated voice pierced the air as he stared pointedly at his wristwatch. It's almost 10 o'clock. You know that? Bedtime for all the little boys and girls.
so if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Huh? What was that? It came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. It's bad. Come on, we have to go back.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just make things up.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said,
We could not have been gone for more than a minute or two, though. So then, the killer was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in that short amount of time. It would seem so.
his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
Huh?
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think she's referring to a ghost, Hero.
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive, is it really possible?
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
The body discovery announcement was only made once. That much I'm sure of.
Are you saying
That when we first found there's a chance he was out? No. If Hifumi was dead, and do you know that?
Shortly, he heard the body discovery announcement, along with the rest of Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No, that's wrong.
Couldn't the body discovery announcement been intended for Taka?
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
And there was.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We were asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again.
But it happened.
If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
The second body announcement. The first time it played was when we found each body in the nurse's office in the equipment room. And the second time was when we rediscovered the bodies.
I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
A body has been discovered. After a certain amount of time, which you may use however you like, the class trial will begin.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is not the best logic I've heard today.
That is the worst logic I have ever heard.
That's a more apt way of putting it. Whoops.
But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
There has to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Then, was he really still alive?
Of course not. It is impossible. This is ridiculous.
The reason I can say Hifumi was still alive. If I can just find the contradiction in these statements, I'm sure it'll become clear.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's then, his body disappeared. And the next time it was in the report. But when you compare his body before then, other than the change in how it was,
There was no notable difference.
No, that's wrong.
The second time we found Hifumi, his glasses were scrubbed clean.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
The evidence I found in the trash can in the nurse's office was the glasses cleaning cloth, which looks like, based on the design, something only Hifumi would have.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean.